Same thing is also true in terms of the offline exams.
Okay.
Possibly we'll take a call by end of this month.
Yeah.
You want to understand that by next week it should come down.
Yeah, that is sudden. What is the experts are saying is sudden spike and sudden the fall. So the COVID, the new variant, they are predicting in that way. More or less, it is following those prediction model. I don't know whether how long it will follow in the same way, but the peaks are getting predicted, and then more or less it is following.
The good news is that not many hospitalizations. People are getting cold, cough, and the headache and other things. It's a common symptoms which we otherwise have for this cold kind of a thing.
Okay.
Only a few cases where they have the additional things which is continuing for more than a week or so. Only a few cases. In majority of the cases, I think they are back to normal in a matter of 5 days, 3 to 5 days.
Yeah. Of course, we are at least in the last 1 or 2 weeks, we are hearing so many infected cases, even in colleagues, the apartment, essential circles, even otherwise. So certainly it is impacting people. I don't know. Of course, the number of hospital cases are, as you said, really, really low. Hope that it will continue.
We can move forward. Captain, sir, we can go ahead.
Sir, it's about 3:03 now. I thought we'll just wait for a couple of minutes and we'll start off at 3:05, sir.
Sure. No problem.
A couple of few more people will join, and then they may miss the context if they miss the early part.
Natarajan, sir, your travel has come down now?
No travel now.
No travel at all. Yeah.
Oh, very safe.
Everything is possible online, you know.
Online, yeah.
Except a couple of board meetings here in Ramaya. So close. And they prefer to have, physical meetings.
Offline.
Offline. It's once in 3 months.
Yeah.
What about your board meetings?
Mostly we had one offline. And our board meetings are normally 2 per year.
Who is the chairman now?
Our chairman is Hemchand Sagar.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Hemchand Sagar, yes.
Right.
His brother Premchand Sagar is the pro-chancellor.
What is IIRF?
IIRA is this
RF.
Organization where they give the Institute Innovation ranking.
Okay. Who manages it?
I think there's some organization in Delhi.
Okay.
You know, there are hundreds of organizations which have come up and everybody is rating everything now.
Quite right. And NIRF, where do you stand?
I think we did not figure in any of this because we were not eligible for applying because the 2 batches had not come out.
Okay, not yet.
Now, I think this year we should be in a position to get something now. Maybe about 200. Probably in the next 3 to 5 years, we should be there in around 100. That's what I predict.
You are NAC accredited and
we have applied this time.
Okay. And NBA?
We have become eligible for everything now.
Okay. And you are getting good students?
Okay, sir. Not too great, but definitely okay.
What about placement?
Placement has been very good. Placement has been close to about 95 to 100%. And the package is also very good. Placement wise is no issues. And the the quality of teaching learning is also good. Faculty are reasonably good. Only thing is some disruptions that have happened in terms of the pandemic in the last 2 years. Apart from that, everything is fine. And we are also operating in a temporary campus.
Yeah,
Probably,
which campus are you operating from?
we are operating from the Kudlugate campus, Hosur Road,
Hosur Road.
Electron City Road. Is about 5 kilometers from Silk Board.
Okay.
That's
And
where. Yes, sir.
You had a campus on the road to Mysore?
No, we don't have.
No?
We have Kanakpura Road. We have.
Kanakpura Road.
Yeah, Kanakpura Road. We have 2 campuses now. One is Dayanand Sagar Academy of Technology and Management, and the university campus is also coming further down near Arohalli. That's coming up really well. It's about 135-acre campus. Right now, the medical school is running there. And probably in 1 year, 1.5 years, we will move there.
What are you doing with reference to NEP?
NEP, I think most of the things we have implemented in some form or the other in the last 3 years, particularly the flexibility and other things we have already incorporated, the multidisciplinary learning, other things. We had lots of open electives and other things. 2 or 3 major things have to be done. One is that 4-year degree program. UG programs have to be 4-year degree program, which we are working on the curriculum right now. That's one thing which we need to. Then the ABC is the other one which you need to look at. The third thing that we also need to look at is to have the MOUs with few organizations to have that the certification, the MOOCs and other things that has to be incorporated in a much more structured way. We have that, but in a more structured way, we'll do it in the coming years. Otherwise, other things we have been following. For example, the summative assessment is much higher than this formative assessment is more than the summative assessment.
Yeah.
60-40, we already done it long back.
Murthy, we have all these things already.
Correct,
What
sir,
is
correct,
new? What
Yeah.
is new?
Nothing new.
And
Nothing new.
I don't believe in NEP because it has not been discussed. Implementation is difficult. There are lots of people talking about the enormous difficulties that you have. What is this 1-year certificate, 2-year diploma? What is all this nonsense?
It is the same thing which was there earlier.
But also, what is the use?
There's no use. Absolutely, there's no use. One of the thing is obviously the student goes with a certificate now. Earlier, he used to go with an empty hand. Now he's going to carry a paper now.
But what is the value of this in terms of employers?
Don't know. That has to be looked into.
What value can it have? Because he is an immature engineer, unprepared engineer.
So
Exactly.
So we're good
That
to
I
go.
agree.
So we're good to go.
Yeah, you can start. Yeah.
So warm welcome and good afternoon to everybody. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Murthy, my colleague, Professor Arvinda Srinivas, and of course, the speaker for the day, Mr. Krishnan, PM. Dear students, faculty, staff, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a talk under the Distinguished Guest Lecture Series brought to you by BITES Bengaluru and Dayanand Sagar University on transforming the institution through adoption of the EFQM model. So for those of you who are uninitiated, this is the European model of excellence. Mr. Krishnan is, of course, the principal counselor and head of business excellence and Lean Six Sigma practices at the Confederation of Indian Industry, Institute of Quality, Bengaluru. So for a brief abstract of what he is going to talk about today, institutions across the globe are looking for ways to effectively achieve their vision and progress towards realizing the purpose. As you all know, organization purpose has become critical, particularly in difficult, stressful, times that we are going through at the moment. Organizations and institutions are going through disruptions caused by the environment, regulations, technology shifts, or the aspirations of students, customers, stakeholders, whoever they might be. This pandemic has further accelerated the vulnerability that we see all around us. In a dynamic environment like these, excellence frameworks will help us to stay anchored, be focused, and probably provide a cornerstone for us to navigate difficult times. The European Foundation for Quality Management EFQM model is a globally recognized management framework that supports organizations and institutions in managing change and improving performance. The model helps you to define a strong institutional purpose, inspire leaders at every level, and create a culture committed to driving performance while remaining agile, adaptive, and able to evolve for the future in order to become truly world-class, in order to create a truly world-class institution. This introductory session will focus on the need for transformation, differentiators, EEQM model, adapting the EFQM model for driving performance and transformation, assessment to understand the status, gaps and actions, and so on. Mr. Krishnan PM has a distinguished record. He is currently the principal counselor and head of business excellence and Lean Six Sigma practices at the CII, Institute of Quality, Bengaluru. He is involved in counseling, training, and assessment in the areas of business excellence based on globally recognized excellence frameworks since year 2010. He's also actively engaged in the prestigious CII Exim Bank Awards for Business Excellence and the CII Award for Customer Obsession. He has been closely working with many large corporate public sector enterprises and institutions in facilitating their improvement programs, excellence journey, and organization transformation. He has trained over 1,000 senior professionals on the EFQM excellence model as assessors and practitioners, and has as a process consultant. He is also actively involved in the Global Excellence Council, a global forum of excellence award administrators. Prior to joining CII, he has worked with different corporate houses like the APC, by the Schneider Electric, Wipro, WEP Peripherals, and BPL Group for about 18 years, covering various functions: strategy, manufacturing, quality, new facility setup, product engineering, and so on. Mr. Krishnan is a postgraduate in manufacturing management from the BITS Pilani, MBA in production and operations management, and a certified Six Sigma black belt. He's a senior member of the American Society for Quality, ASQ. And with that, I once again welcome Mr. Krishnan to this gathering. Mr. Krishnan, we have our several of our MBA, executive MBA students, smattering of our faculty here, and over to you, please.
Thank you, Captain Nagaraj, for that initial introduction. And first of all, before starting, let me thank the BITES, Arvind Srinivas, Captain Nagaraj, and Professor Murthy for giving us an opportunity to share what we believe that truly can change some of the organizational future endeavors. And the next 35 minutes, what we will going to cover is basically the broad aspects of what is generally seen as the need for transformation, even if the different times, whether it is a good time or bad time, there is a need for change. And also, how do we make this change implemented, transformation implemented in the organization? And we have been, since 1994, we have been following a model which is based on the European Foundation for Quality Management as part of our endeavor, CIS endeavor to promote excellence in Indian community through a prestigious award called EFQM Model Award for Business Excellence. So that's the flagship the program which we run in the promotion of excellence in India. And as part of that, more than promoting the recognition, we also help the organization, facilitate the organization to move forward in that journey by looking at various best practices across the globe, not necessarily only from the Indian context. Today, let me just quickly share our small presentation. Let me quickly share that, and then, of course, you can at any point in time, you can, or maybe as per the process of the system, we can have a maybe Q&A at the end. You can use your chat box for putting your points, if any. So it's a broad the subject. It's what we are going to cover will be only the first layer. Maybe even we may not even penetrate to the below the skin level. So it's just the skin level that we are going to share. So hope you are able to see my screen. Let me just have a quick check first, then.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes. So broadly the topic which we are going to cover, Captain Nagaraj has mentioned, and a quick introduction of CI and CI Institute of Quality. CI Institute of Quality, the first center of excellence in CII, primarily to focus the subject of quality and business excellence. And today we have 10 centers of excellence focusing various subjects. Not necessarily everything is on the industry focus. It could be as important subjects like water management, food and agriculture, and the latest concepts of digital transformation and entrepreneurship. So we have subjects from the core manufacturing or the service organizations, the technology, to the most important, nationally important subjects like food and agriculture. And broadly, the subjects I'm going to cover is the EFQM model, European Foundation for Quality Management, and the Adapting EFQM model, and CIXM Bank Award for Business Excellence. CI, you may be heard of, already maybe knowing, familiar with. What I wanted to just quickly say all about from this, the text is, in 2020, CI marked its 125th year of existence, contribution to national development as a development agency. In the last 125 years, and now it is 127th year, CI has been done focusing on how the national development can happen through industrial development. So it has been the voice for between the industry and the influential the policymakers, and we strive to enhance the competitiveness of the industry through the practices which globally adapted as best practices. So that's one thing. Apart from the regular interaction of the policymakers and industry members, we also support industry in building competitiveness. CI Institute of Quality at the first center of excellence under the umbrella of CI, which has different programs: business excellence, quality management systems, Lean Six Sigma, and total protective maintenance. We are also part of an entity which is informal body of Global Excellence Council, which is the premier the body of all the award administrators across the globe, representing all the continents. And CI represents India through the CIXM Bank Award for Business Excellence. Coming to the first and foremost, the question, why we should look at something as a transformation or as a change. When everything going fine, everything seems to be going well, where we have programs are running fine, are happening, campus placements are happening, and rankings are also probably, it is more or less okay. And why we should change? So the point which you need to look at is change and transformation is a continuous process. When you are in a good shape, that is certainly required to transform further to ensure that you are sustaining and taking the shape what is required for the future. So you are still becoming a leader. But if you are not doing well, all the more reason for making that change happen, what is important for the organization or institution to come back to the normal situation and then take the transformation journey. So there is, first and foremost, there is no good time or bad time for looking at change or transformation. It is a continuous process. So anytime you will have this. So change generally fixes the past. What happened in the past, according to the conversion, we make the change. Whereas transformation creates basically more futuristic. And the ability of the organization leaders, institutional leaders to think and take the appropriate risk is the only constraint in terms of transformation. Whereas if we are having a broader view and a larger perspective, you have a visibility or you have an intuition much better than the others, you can take that journey. And your ability of thinking and your ability to take the risk or initiative is the only constraints when you are looking at transformation. So change and transformation, both are important. Change fixes what was required, triggered as the past actions, which we need to correct it, and then the transformation is futuristic. Today, probably the most talked, the phrases, terms are disruptions, resilience, agility. But these disruptions are there in the space for long. Probably the pandemic has accelerated. But if you look at the history, every decade, the rate of change or the disruptions, what is going to face is getting changed. So what we are seeing today, and we may be prepared to have facing more and more such disruptions. Whether it's not only the institutions, the industry or institutions, everywhere. For example, in the last 1.5 to 2 years, the way we faced disruption in the education system, starting from the online to offline again to hybrid model and the related issues. Beyond the focus of the core education, we had to focus on health and well-being of the students, faculties, and staff, and follow the protocols, which we never expected that it is our core subject. So health, safety, and well-being became part and parcel of our routine, whether we are conducting offline or online, whether you are from an industry or from an institution. So that's the key thing which today, and the disruptions will be there. Everybody is facing challenges, and this will be there today as well as something for tomorrow. And history says each pandemic, each disruptions have also accelerated the rate of change and brought something new. It could be technology or otherwise. Just to bring the context, Gartner conceptualized this model, which called as A6, Action 6 model. When this disruption is there, you have many options. One of the options is deny. Okay, there is nothing is going to happen. You can do that. The other options are wait and see, or you jump and attack on the process, or find alternative ways by avoiding that and then moving on to some other businesses or the processes, or building partnerships so that we can be more stronger and make bigger and bigger organizations. So you have a choice. One thing is clear, disruption is around, and we may have to face. What method we will use, what path we will choose is left to each and every institution. So what is in our control is the way, what path we are choosing, but disruption is there and it is likely to impact every institution or organization in the coming days. So this choice is yours, whether you wanted to deny or you wanted to react and act or proactively is taking some steps. Institutional priorities, any institutions, irrespective of the size and what offer you are doing to the students, whether you are in a management or a technical institute, first priority is let us make things better every day. Whatever we are doing, let us excel in that. Whether it is a education program performance, whether it is a results or academic or co-curricular, whatever it is, making the institution more meaningful. Performance, which is today. And while focusing on performance today, we also need to look at what drives the transformation for the future? Because we have seen that as disruption is going to happen, we may have to change and we have to prepare for that. For that preparation, what needs to be done for tomorrow? And this has to go parallel. While we are one side, we are focusing on how do we ensure the performance today, and you have to also focus on the performance for tomorrow. And finally, we are all looking at how do we progress towards our purpose. Each institution, each organization, each country has got a purpose. So what is each individual has got a purpose. So what is that we are going to look at? How do we realize that? How do you measure that? How do you ensure that we are progressing towards that? And confidently we can say that we are going towards that, we are reaching there. And many cases, the aligning the purpose to the organization is one of the key element. The aligning the purpose to the organizations or institutions' other priorities is the key purpose of all these improvement programs. And we have to understand there are differentiators. Differentiators are there for every aspect. First is, see, for example, as a question for reflection of ourselves. For ourselves, we can just reflect. What are the differentiators between my institute and the rest? Why someone is choosing me, or why someone is choosing someone else, not me, as the educational program provider? Or maybe the course I'm offering, the same course is offered by many. Same city, there will be multiple institutes. And why someone is offering, someone is preferring some you and the other rather than the other, or reverse. So understand the differentiators. And what is the value you're offering? You are offering a degree. Through the degree program, what value you wanted to offer? See, degree programs, all those things are your products or services, what you are giving in a typical organization. But what is that ultimately through this degree, what you are planning to give? As what is the value of the students who are coming to you? Everyone get a certificate. So what's the value further you are offering as an institute is the key. And are these endorsed by students? So first, you may be thinking that this is what the differentiator, I am good at this, thereby people are coming. Is it endorsed by students, parents, and more importantly, your immediate, the other beneficiary, which is the industry today, because many of the management courses has a large the customer stakeholder holding, where the placement is one of the key aspects. So are they endorsing that you are different than the other? So then for society, institute, all those things, even social norms, whether somebody is making you, seeing you in that light than the other. So in all these stakeholders, whether this is being endorsed, are they endorsing that you are in that direction? Are they seeing you in that limelight? That is what very important. What is the differentiator finally? That's a question we need to answer yourself. Probably if you are okay, I think if you have access to maybe the mobile, and if you can just take 1 minute and just is a very easy way, just type mendy.com, and if you can just enter the code and just answer to the differentiator, just 1 minute. So we will do that. So mobile is perfectly okay. Just type mendy.com and there is a voting things will come. You can just enter the code and then you can put your answer. Just a very short answer you can put. What are the differentiators you feel as the differentiator for the organized institution which you belongs to? Just 1 minute time we can spend on that. So leadership thinking, contemporary industry focused. Quality faculty, relevance, mentoring students. Yeah, I think we may wait for another 30 seconds to get a few more responses. More of real-time knowledge. Leadership. Placement, strategic thinking. So these are faculties, curriculum, case analysis, projects. So if you look at these are all some of the differentiators you feel that makes the difference between you and the rest of the institutes. It's better to reflect again and probably devise a system where you can get it endorsed by your stakeholders. Are they, see, ultimately, this is your maybe understanding, or to some extent you can say as a claim. But these claims has to be endorsed by the other side to say that you are really there. And that's the only way is basically to ensure that you get tested, get endorsed by the, could be students, parents, or if you say that placement, if you say that placement is your differentiator, if you ask the industry, they may say, or even ask the students who has gone through that, they may say what is really, what you feel is. So only point is we need to look at beyond what our understanding, beyond what our claim, our thinking, our feeling, assumption, sometimes it will be assumptions. Please go and check what is really happening there. So I think I'm stopping here in this thing. We will get back to the presentation. So if you look at the first and foremost question is, what is the purpose of education? Is it to make job, or is it to prepare you for something larger, or is it to prepare you as an individual or a citizen to live the life in a peaceful, human way, and more the value to the entire society? So in many cases, sometimes it appears that the job could be one of the, what could be one of the priority. For example, if you look at, let us look at the slightly different way. Job or placement could be a priority as an immediate outcome of the education. Probably it could be a means to achieve something larger. So reflecting again on what is the purpose of education, how we do that, and all those things are the very important at any stage. So it's not just only the academic excellence. For example, if you say that if you wanted to make better human citizens through your education system, they are self-sufficient in living, they are leading or contributing to the overall growth of the nation. Are we tracking after these college days? Today, at least Alumni Association, all where it is there, but are we tracking? So beyond the academic result, what else we know, what else we track to know that we are moving towards that? So that's the big question. What is the purpose of education? You can reflect that. I don't want to spend time on that. Please reflect. This is the starting point of the system. What is the purpose of education? What is the purpose of your institute? What is the purpose of my department? What is the purpose of my education? So all those things individually to the institution level, we have to look at and then maybe try to answer it. So I'm just skipping this, maybe it's okay. So we will continue that this session. So if you look at the purpose of education is to be understood, and that is one driver for you to think. But the second driver is ecosystem is keep changing. It's not the same. The global education systems are changing, global ranking are changing, customers' preferences are changing, students' preferences are changing, the parents' preferences are changing, institutional preferences are changing, and the policies and frameworks are keep coming in, starting from your accreditation to the other standards, including NEP or even SDG for that matter, quality education is coming as a one differentiator. So you need to understand the ecosystem is keep changing. Thereby, what we were doing some time back no longer good enough to move forward. So we need to change. The only point we need to keep from here is we need to change constantly as the ecosystem external scenarios are changing. So we can't be constant or stagnant in any place. So you wanted to use positive, then it's constant. And if you wanted to say that you are stuck there, it is stagnant, whatever it is, but you can't be there forever. And you have compulsions from all these accreditation, the policy makers, including, and we are saying today, we are seeing even NEP has taken SDG 4 as one of the key point. How do we give education, quality education? Apart from many other policies they have given, they are also talked about quality education, which is the subject global agenda, 2030 global agenda. So apart from, so you may have still work on new guidelines, new policies, new frameworks, and you also will have a compulsion to accelerate your journey, excel in your rankings. And that's one thing we need to look at, because you have to show that you are a progressive organization, progressive institute. So you need to also ensure that you are keeping the accreditation and policies in mind, and you are meeting those effectively. While those are all accreditation policies or the frameworks are more like meeting those standards, we are striving to meet those standards. What is important is beyond that. How do we transform? So this is there, definitely there, but we wanted to know how do we transform. And for transformation, you need new tools. What you had earlier, you cannot do today's job with yesterday's methods and 11 tomorrow also. So that's the if you look at the EFQM, there was a model change and launch, and this is a transition slide, why that model is changing. Many practices, when you look at, it would have been set, even including the curriculums and other things, what you look at, it would have been set long back. There are a lot of things which is to be changed. Some are in your hand where regulation may not prohibit you or limit you for doing it. Some you may have to comply. So compliance is there, but beyond compliance, what you do, that's a mindset change required. What is the mindset change? Compliance mindset is, I am doing because the standard is asking me to do, compulsion to do. But whereas from the, I am moving to excellence, that is, I want to make it better. The focus is, I am doing it because it adds further value. I am doing it because it inspires me and going towards the purpose. So the mindset change from compliance to excellence is an important thing. And when you do that, when you adapt it, you get a purpose better, you get a culture, organization, you get more stakeholder results, institutional branding, all those things will automatically change. And you will really be in a position to uniquely position yourself as an organization progressing towards the purpose. And the model which we are going to introduce today is the EFQM model, which is European Foundation for Quality Management. That EFQM originally stands for, the definition expansion stands for. I'm saying originally because today it is a registered name as EFQM, because they wanted to remove the word EFQM in the expansion because they wanted to go beyond Europe. So the European word, it is limiting themselves when going beyond Europe, thereby they abbreviated and used a registered name. Today it is not an abbreviation, it's a registered name of EFQM, European Foundation for Quality Management. This is an excellence model since 1992, applicable to all sectors, irrespective of the size and the business you are in. Any sector you can apply this. And broadly, this can be divided into three. First, you get the direction right. Get the direction right. What you want to, where do you want to go? How do you want to achieve? Get the planning, strategies, institutional infrastructure, all those things, planning ready. Get that direction very, very clear. Have clarity on your leadership thoughts and the cultures and other things. Once you get the direction right, you are clear on what is the direction you are going to take. Next step is execute well. You have plan, a lot of plans are there. For example, many plans are not getting executed because our ability to execute or commitment to execute is not fully aligned. Sometimes it could be commitment, sometimes it could be ability. So both are execution. So the next step is once the direction, what your institution want to achieve, where you wanted to go, what you wanted to place, and then it is execution of your practices, including the education curriculum, the courses, infrastructure, the government programs, the branding, your ecosystem as tying up with the partner industries for both institute and industry tie up, not only for placement. You can also wonderfully do that for getting more insights in your courses. You can have more guest lectures, have industry interns more than what is happening today. So many ways, if you are 90% of the students are going for placement in the industry, please consider accordingly and see how industry can participate better, even in the curriculum design, even in the delivery, and even in the post-delivery process. However, within the framework, whatever it is possible to do that. There are a lot of scope. Framework asks you to do something, comply with that, and beyond that, there are many ways we can innovate. So innovation, creativity is applicable even in your execution. And once you execute, the next step is show the results. Look at the results. What are the immediate results you are getting? What are the next outcomes you are getting? And what are the benefit results? For example, your academic excellence scores or maybe the results may be an immediate result. But what happens after that? The placements, or people are getting job, people are getting good name, and institutions getting good name is the next step. And ultimately, the end outcome is the beneficiary are translating into something good. Are these people are becoming better citizens than the other institutions? If somebody pass out of my college, the success probability is much higher. Success is not defined by the immediate job. Success is defined by how he is able to manage the adversities, how he is managed to navigate those adversities and become successful in the long run. So its immediate success could be the placement, but beyond that, there are many things. Where are we tracking it? So that's a question which you can ask. Are we tracking it? Is the beneficiary benefits, are we tracking it? Are they really becoming good citizens? All these can be tracked, which can definitely become a differentiator for you. You can say that, yes, our students or our the alumni are 1, 2, 3, 4. While many organizations may recognize few individuals for distinguished alumni, but more than that, what we can do is also need to be seen. And it's a fundamental principle of why the institution is existing, how you wanted to deliver it, and what you wanted to achieve it. So it's a fundamental philosophy. You look at the excellence model is not complex. It's very, very simple. Conceptually, it is very simple of the fundamental why organization is existing, how you wanted to achieve, and what you wanted to achieve. So this direction, execution, results, it talks about that. In the model, further to the higher level direction, execution, and result, we also have, for example, the direction is further categorized or maybe divided into chapters. We call as in the excellence language, we call as criteria, but you can say as a chapter, purpose, vision, and strategy. What is the organization is doing on that? The second is organization culture and leadership. And how do you engage with the stakeholders? Creating value. How do you do that? And driving performance and transformation. So this is the practices of an organization, institutional practices, including development of curriculum, development of faculties, administration of exams, development of people in various aspects, co-curricular activities, curricular activities, and meaningful definition of holistic education. So we may say holistic education. So we need to look at that, whether we are doing. The result side, there are two important aspects. One is all your performance results, what you are showing is academic result. Whether you are doing whether you are able to make the the institution running in the way which is required, even if it is the non-profit organization, are you able to sustain yourself through your funding process? You may not be, of course, aiming for profit, it's understandable, but are we able to run the institutions on a continuous basis without making a loss? Are we able to get at least some surplus so that we can invest on infrastructure and other facilities, what is required for the future? Are we able to get enough fund wherever it is required? So that's the beyond the academic, we need to look at that. And the most important thing is the perceptions of all the stakeholders. Whether the students are feeling happy, are they endorsing it? Whether the inside staff, both faculty and other non-faculty, are they feeling happy? The regulators, administrators, the other, including from the University Grants Commission to the local, the happy. Your society around happy because of you being there. Are you able to contribute to that? And you have some academic partners, both some are technology partners, some are supplying something to you, some are taking something you, and you may be using them for developing some programs, delivering some programs. Are they happy? So the perceptions of those stakeholders beyond what you think also need to be measured. So the model is asking for measuring that, which is further divided. For example, direction. It is divided into another 5 headings, which is called have you defined your vision? Please do that. Second is you have an needs expectations. Do you have a process for that? And involve the stakeholders. The third one is ecosystem. Things are changing. Your capabilities, their capabilities, are they measuring? Are they matching? What is the institutional planning on strategy which you are saying for long term, including starting courses, expanding, or truly a global institution? What is your strategy? And internally, what is the implementation and the governance? How do you clearly articulate and other areas? In the criteria 2, which talks about leadership and culture, how do you drive the culture of the organization, both students and the faculty? How do you ensure that somebody coming out of your organization has got a unique culture, which is there in the institute, which is there in the industry? It's also can be there in the so what culture you wanted to, what they want to be known for, and what they want to be acknowledged for. So that's all seen, and you can drive that. And whenever you wanted to change something, there will be failures. So preparing the people for accepting something that change, trying out that, and we may fail sometimes, whether it could be students or faculties or administrators. We may fail, something's fine, but are the failures are seen as a learning opportunity and moving forward? And creativity, innovation, no, it's not an industry subject, it is subject for everyone. How do you use that innovation? And a lot of incubators are happening now. A lot of focus is there on innovation across even institutes. And that's how do you nurture that further? And finally, when you wanted to change something, everybody has to be aligned to that, including all staff and faculties and even students and their. How do you ensure that everybody has a aligned to one purpose? So this is about the direction. In the execution, first and foremost is engage. You read customers as your students, parents, and the other industry key stakeholders. How do you engage with them? How do you engage with the internal staff, faculties and staff? How do you ensure that the regulators are continuously engaged? How do you ensure that society around is also taken care? And your academic partners and technology partners or other partners, the administrative partners, are completely working with. So that's about the criteria which is talking about engaging stakeholders. And I'll just quickly take another 2, then we will open up for some discussion. Then criteria 4 is talking about which is creating value. It is a most difficult. We are all used to define your product and service. I am offering an MBA course. I am offering an engineering course. What is the value you're offering to MBA course or engineering course? Is the the final thing we need to understand. Through my institution, this course is offered. Everybody is offering MBA. It's a equitable one. But what is the value I am offering through this course? And once you get someone gets certified, what is the value additionally I am providing to them? Then what is the value you are creating? Understand that first. The model is recognizing the fact that it is an area we need to understand. Understand first how it is being developed and communicate to the external parties very well that this is what the offer I am having. It's not the product, MBA or engineering college. I am offering that. Through that, this will be the benefit. And then whatever promised, please ensure that you are delivering. So that's what the next the model is telling. Whatever you are promising, please deliver. And once you deliver, please understand the experience of your students, parents, and stakeholders for really getting a very, very good experience. So this is what the model in nutshell is talking about: create value on the practices. You drive the performance and transformation on an ongoing basis. It is you need to manage the risk. You need to also keep that in shape in mind. Even if it is fluid, you need to constantly look at that and change. And innovation and technology is the future. For example, the last 2 years, the way we have adapted it, shown the resilience, shown the agility in adapting it, all those things are fantastic. Every organization has fantastically more, every institutions have changed their process very, very fast. So that shows that we can adapt innovate technology, we can innovate. But the same thing on an ongoing basis, this is basically based on compulsion. How do you something from compulsion to a continuous process? When something constraints are there, we are doing innovation, we are adapting technology, it is one way. It is required. But beyond the constraints and compulsion, how do you say that ongoing change is being adapted? We are adapting new technologies more for the benefit of the community, benefit of the students, benefit of the staff, faculty, benefit of the industry, or the other the aspects we are looking at, research areas. So depending upon where you are focusing, how do you ensure that those technologies are being implemented? And how do you leverage data, knowledge, because it's a very important thing, and manage risk. In the stakeholders, as I said, one is the perception, another one is the performance. All the perceptions of your students, faculties, parents, staff, faculty, all those things, opinion, you please consider, and then also consider what is the strategic and operational performance. So various results has to be, whatever it is appropriate to you, you need to develop that. So this is, in nutshell, is about the model. And for the model to know where you are, there is something called radar. Radar is nothing but an abbreviation for result, approach, deployment, and then assessment and refinement. So they basically, first you look at, define what results you want to achieve, then plan according to what you want, and then implement what you want to achieve, that practices, whatever it is there, what products, whatever it is there, implement that, whatever the plan you have. Then continuously assess where you are, how you are. The assessments and other things are common thing in the education system. So on continuous evaluation, continuous assessment, how do you do and then improve is the one which you are looking at, and finally measure where your outcome is. So this is, the radar is also helping to understand where the progress we are making. So this is about the model, and I will also just cover quickly on the benefits of internalization. It helps to look at, so we have a compliance framework. So this is the compliance space. So you have a regulators, everything is there. But what is excellence? What you are offering through these frameworks is that you think beyond your compliance space. There is a space which is larger, which you can use, which is the excellence space. You can explore. There is no boundary there and no specific written rules also. You can explore what is appropriate to you and improve in these areas. Ultimately, it could be in the leadership, it could be in planning, it could be in the development of the programs, or it could be tie-ups with the institutes, or it could be on adapting technology, or it could be on improving the benefits. Anything you can So irrespective of what you are doing currently, where you are placed at, you can still explore this option of the space of excellence. So that is the difference. So compliance is important. You have, it is more of consent to operate, whereas excellence is your in identity, your ability to show something different than what you are today and what others are doing. So this is a differentiator. Differentiator comes here. Whatever you are doing towards excellence, that is the differentiator, because compliance everybody does. So everybody is following the same rules, so everybody is following that. So compliance is the minimum, and excellence is the main thing. And in the path to excellence, we have many programs. As I'm just giving you some insights about CI program, and for the larger to smaller, we have programs. And one of the programs we are going to discuss is basically CI Bank, and there is something called maturity assessment to understand where you are, how you are. If you look at the CI Bank started in 1994 to improve the competitiveness, we have different levels. So gold plus, platinum, award, and gold model. Depending upon the score, organizations will be, or institutions will be recognized as gold plus, platinum, and award in the order at a higher order of score. And there are rigorous process of assessment. A lot of revelation happens. Interactions will give you a lot of insights. And this is primarily initially focused on industry, but it is institutions are also participating, service organizations are practicing, many other the organizations are adapting it. So it's not only industry specific, it's a generic model. Every organization can participate. And the benefits are plenty. And we also have beyond the award, there is something called, anybody wanted to go through the assessment, we can do the maturity assessment. And there are different phases. Phase 1 is initiate, and you will get a quick dipstick assessment and get a feedback for improvement where you wanted to improve further. It is beyond your compliance framework. While compliance also will be focused, beyond compliance framework, where you wanted to, there is an opportunity for improving. You will get that insights on that. And a little deeper insights on phase 2, much more deeper assessment, internalization. It is more like interactions with the leadership and other areas, faculties, students, customers, stakeholders. We will interact and then get the input. And again, broader picture on where you are today, what maturity level you are in, and what you can further improve. So the focus will be what opportunities you will be there, you can look at for looking at making the journey better. So that always, while it is stating that where you are, also focus on what can be done further. So the steps are first you initiate, then implement those processes, then integrate those practices, because today pockets of the excellence will be there, and isolation, there will be many the excellent activities, but how do you integrate all those things? And once you integrate all those things, then how do you internalize? How do you ensure that it is becoming a way of life? That is the way which we do in the industry. And there are multiple timelines. Generally, we'll say after 2 years just to practice, you will get into the integration stage. And beyond that, it is internalizing, making a culture, have a hobby or the habit. So there is no end. So it will be ongoing. And in the assessment, is basically each information will be collected from you. Some information will be seen from the website, and then interaction will happen. Based on the interactions, they will make some report and give some feedback. What are the good practices? What are the areas we can look at? What are some of the best practices we can look at? And then give some maturity score and action plan. So this is the outcome generally in the assessment. And what's the benefit? It's industry data. It's not the academic data. I'm just wanted to give that disclaimer. When you implement, because we still not have the enough data to show that the summary like this from the academy, but you can be the beginner, you can be the lead in the process. While one organizations are practicing this and they are a part of it, but we want more and more to come. So you can extend this to the institutions. Your students, parents' satisfaction will be improved. Your academic results and the other non-academic results will improve. Your efficiency will improve. You also will have the more the enhanced process. Your faculty, students, everybody's satisfaction will improve. And if you wanted to launch some programs, you know that effectively how can we reduce the time, and internally how do you control the cost and other measures so that you can make more the money at least controlled for better use. So this is the summary of some of the benefits, but not all, indicative from many organizations' practices. I'm again reiterating that it is industry data, not the academic data. We can extrapolate the same thing and look at instead of customer, students and faculties, people instead of people, it can be the faculties and the staff. And you don't have to see the whole staircase just to take the first step. So we don't do that. So definitely this is one such staircase where you will reach heights in a better place, and there is no negative implication on this. So that's all I just wanted to cover quickly on it. And then now if you have any specific points, open for discussions wherever possible.
Thank you, Mr. Krishnan. There are a couple of questions, and then
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions. So first
Yeah.
question is from Dr. Amulya Panda. Dr. Panda is also an expert in Lean Six Sigma and so on and so forth, quality management. He's a colleague of mine here.
Yeah.
Yes, could you please give us some examples of values typically pursued by educational institutions? What do you think are the values that educational institutions would want to pursue?
So each institutions may have to make their own attempt to understand, but generally I'm just saying, because that is why otherwise if everybody looks the same, it will not be a differentiator. So each one will have something. See, for example, if you look at, it all depends on the community you are serving to. Some of the values, for example, it could be that, see, someone may feel that by going through the institute, I will get more job assured. It could be one value. It is not for everyone. For those who feel that the job is a big thing and that is assurance is required, for them job will be there. Second is, someone feels that this is a foundation, thereby I will have a lot of future value, that I can get into bigger institutes, bigger thing like brand value. I have, so that could be that I wanted to carry the brand value so that I will get more mileage out of it. So it's a depending upon what institutions and whom you are serving to, and it is not necessary. For example, if you look at, I'm just giving an analogy. If you have plenty of models of mobiles in the market, if you say one is the best, then everybody should go for that. If you look at, everyone has got a market. I may buy something, you may buy something else. The value what you see is different than me. Thereby you are buying something different. So it could be the affordability, it could be the value, it could be the user friendliness. So you need to identify the core community or the core students or parents, what or industry serving, what is that they are looking at. It is not an assumption. It's not an assumption. You need to work with those, understand from them, and then derive it. So it's not one answer for that. This is, you can take the example, any product. You have every segment, you have different customers. Each one will have a different thing. Even for shopping, for the same branded item, we go to 1, 2, 3 shops. So the experience could be a value. So it's contextual. Hope that gives some clarity.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, when we talk about values, and I want your opinion on this, when we talk about values, most of us are looking at terminal values. Yeah, but the instrumentality of a value, what gets you to the terminal value, sometimes are not clearly defined.
Yeah.
And therein lies a problem, maybe.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you are right to some extent that the value can be, so for example, if you look at, some value will be momentary. I'm just having an experience, but whereas some can be, see, for example, carrying something, wherever you carrying that, it has got, you are getting a brand image. So somebody is looking at social status. So there are many ways. Social status, if you look at, the moment you carry that, it is not a terminal value, it is long term. It's basically whenever you are using it, whenever you are using that and others are seeing you, it could be in your the attires, the way you dress, or the branded items you use, to the way you represent yourself. Everything can have the value. One is something will be momentary, which is immediate. Something will be for long lasting. So it's again, you need to look at what is your community is looking at as an important influential thing. So it's all depending upon that. So you can't give an answer now that this will be, then it's an assumption. So you need to endorse that. You need to endorse that with the community. Not everybody will have the same. Then the society, everybody will focus only on one. So it's not happening.
Yeah. No, what I actually meant, just to sort of continue this conversation in a few seconds, is that, say, supposing we're looking at a value that our students should have sustainable careers. You know, the instrumentality of that will happen only if the faculty and students are very responsible. So sometimes that might be sort of missing in the equation, where people look at, okay, we want sustainable careers for our students, but how do we make that happen may not be clearly enunciated.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's another question from my colleague, Professor Anant Popoli. He says, are there different levels of proficiencies in the EFQM model for organizations to assess their levels of quality delivered?
All the excellence model, I'm just giving a generic, including EFQM. It is a generic model, and it is applied on the context of, suppose the same model is applied to industry, same model is applied in a context of education system, the institute. And based on the scoring, after the scoring, there is a level, okay, maybe at this level, this is the characteristics of the organization. So based on the characteristics of the organization, see, for example, somebody in the early adapters, and somebody will be integration focused, somebody will be value delivering process. So depending upon that, there are scores. The scores will give you that different levels, and each and every award model or recognition model will give you award based on the score, and it is EFQM as well as CIS. For CII, we have 4 levels of recognition, starting from earlier it was called strong commitment to excel, it is called gold plus now, and then that is the, in a 1000-point scale, 400 to 499, if you achieve, it is gold plus, and if you are 500 to 599, it is called platinum. Your recognition is platinum. If you are at 600 and plus, award is the first thing which is guaranteed. But beyond the award, there is a higher order which is called role model. You are a role model institution which is picked from these award winners if there is real role model dimension. So many years in our awards process, this has not been awarded. Even including last year, there were 4 award winners, but no one qualified for the role model dimension. So there are gradation for the thing. An assessment is done on using the same model. It is not different models, but based on the final outcome, the gradation happens.
Okay. Yeah, I hope, Anant, that question was answered. And, I have a question. So when we're looking at transformation, particularly organization transformation, it's not a linear or static model. So
Yes.
unfortunately, once you embark on change and transformation, there are many moving parts.
Yeah.
And you change something else changes.
Yeah.
Which gives rise to enormous. So again, there is this balance between stretch and stress. How much do you stretch, and what is the stressors it is putting out? So in your experience, do you think organizations pay enough of attention to that stretch stress model, and what kind of stresses the organization can adopt in transformation?
See, what I have seen, at least, that first is if you are using the adapting the excellence model, it is all open-ended. For example, if you look at, I'm just giving for the contextual clarity, one of the requirement of the excellence model is that how do you continuously scan the external changes and incorporate according to those in your system. So it is what frequency you do, how you do, your ability to do is all continuous. Whether it is today or tomorrow, you have to scan your environment and then bring back the learning to your system. So it's not a requirement. It's only asking you to look at that and then adapt accordingly. What technology changes are happening, you adapt it. It doesn't talk about a specific technology. It say that you please understand the technology changes happening in the organization, the external scenario, which can impact, you are assess the impact which can have in your business, and accordingly you select. If it is impacting lightly, then you can maybe take a risk. If it is going to displace you from the business, there is no choice but to adapt it. Or you change. So it is, the models are always open-ended. Thereby, the question comes to the organization, how they are doing effectively that process and how they are implementing it. The one point which we have always seen is there is a gap between what you plan, what you execute. In the other way, what you preach and what you practice. There is a lot of gap. I, based on the interactions, understood that most of the cases, there are two factors. One is obviously our ability to understand the requirements today, as well as the impact which is going to happen in the past. Next, second issue is sometimes we are not able to continue the commitment level and enthusiasm level because of various reasons, and we are fly by night. The attitude is there in some cases. So both are attributing it, but this is what excellence models in this way, if you are really adapting it, it's not a guarantee for the success. The way you adapt, it is in your hand. The way you adapt, you will get the result. So many organizations, some are progressing because they continuously change. You are talking about how much stress they are taking, how much stretch they are taking. They are accelerating their journey, and they are including the CAGR or the other customer, the values are much higher than the others. So those who adapt in the right way, they may accelerate. Those who are not able to, they may not move forward. So it is both are seen. There are institutes which stagnant for many years in the same level. Even in our assessment, we have seen that. But there are organizations who continuously make the progress, take the feedback seriously and implement it. So it's all, again, goes back to the fundamental, what commitment level you are operating and what the ability of the organization to implement. So we have seen that stress is there, but anyway, whenever there is a stress, constantly that's changing, you can't change everything overnight. So the question is, you are evaluating, is it going to be, the impact would be low, or there is a way to mitigate it, or if it is going to be completely changing your scenario, there is no option but to opt for that. For example, digital transition, what happened in the last 2 years, there is no option. You are not in the business if you are not. So such things, whether you are implemented in something else, you had a plan earlier, all those things are fine. So you have to take that additional burden now, because you may have to maybe absorb that. You may be under stress for some time, but you may have to absorb that. It's again situation based. The aviation industry today, we know that, or hospitality industry, they had to make new business models.
Yeah, I think the education industry as well, where we had to transition to online education fairly rapidly without having any cornerstone or anchor point.
So that's the beauty. The resilience and agility, both the ability to bounce back, as well as to be able to adapt in the environment like this, like fluid, and it is both shown by most organizations. So that's why we had a chance. But the certain industries, for example, if you look at hospitality industry, people cannot travel, people cannot stay. Then they had no option. What technology can adapt? So they have to find alternate business model. So there are situations like this, even in the disruptions, not everything will be in your hand, and you can't react to that in a favorable way. So you have to wait for some time, and your ability to absorb those shocks will determine whether you will be there after some years in the business.
True. Yeah. And absolutely. And so transformation is an absolute must, because like you mentioned, disruptive changes that are occurring, say, at the bottom of the pyramid, and new players are coming into the market, and so on and so forth. So wonderful session, Mr. Krishnan. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And I would like to thank you for your time and insights. I'm sure our faculty and students and staff and other attendees benefited enormously. I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Murthy, for giving us the opportunity. I am the Dean for the School of Commerce and Management Studies, the PG programs here at the Anand Sagar University. and also my colleague Arvind Srinivas for introducing you, and everybody who participated in today's event. And when things are better, hopefully you can visit us in person and we could meet on campus sometime.
Thank you for that opportunity, and because it's our
Captain, we have a question,
pleasure.
Natarajan.
Yeah.
So,
Natarajan sir, you would like to say anything? Natarajan sir?
Yeah. 1 second.
Yeah.
It has been an excellent presentation by you, expanding on the known principles that CAA has been using. You are using the Malcolm Baldrige model for defining excellence and for recognizing excellence. You seem to have progressed to the EFQM model, maybe because you found that there are many things that are not available in that model that you're able to incorporate. And also the awards that you give, recognition of excellence. And it's not only for industry, as you have pointed out, but also for educational institutions. For educational institutions, we have several measures of success and effectiveness. Accreditation is one of the best adopted and utilized. For engineering schools, we have the NBA accreditation, and for new universities, new and old universities, you have the NAC model of accreditation. There are many differences, and many of us have been evaluated for these accreditations. And now another new entrant, not really new, for about 20 years now, is the rankings. As Professor Murthy was pointing out, that every set of activities are being ranked. Magazines are ranking them. New institutions have come up which provide the rankings. And some of us who have been in this business, and I have recently examined the rankings, global rankings, and perception is an important parameter utilized in these rankings, and it has grave, concerns that we have found about perception. And the IITs, for example, they have opted out of one set of global rankings, THE, Times Higher Education, essentially because they give about 50% of the weighting to perception. And we have tried to show that it does not provide a level playing field for all the institutions. And you've written a paper just now which has been accepted. Now, CAI has been the forerunner of many important developments and innovations, both for industry as well as for educational institutions. Thank you very much for expanding on the details of the EFQM model. And on behalf of all the participants, on my own behalf, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Dr. Natarajan. And just one point, we follow both EFQM and Baldrige model. And EFQM is used since 1994 in the business side, and which is recently also modified. Baldrige we use in healthcare sector, and only because we don't want to confuse the industry too much, but we believe both models in principle and the intent are all leading to the same destination. So only the visual appeal or articulation may be different, otherwise both models are equally same in terms of intent.
Thank you.
So, Vice Chancellor, sir, anything else? Or
Nothing. We can close.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for the opportunity. Thank you, and look forward in case if any of you feel that we can be of some help, if you want more details of these programs or the model, more than the recognition, how this can be used to understand some concept, because you can still follow your NAC or the maybe or the IACT, the policies, whatever it is, or your rankings, because these are all going to feed some insights. How do you do better? And this is not a specific the process or written process. It is the starting point is you start thinking something differently, what is meaningful, and then you start adapting. For adapting, you may have to still follow the curriculum, defining curriculum development, testing, or many other practice infrastructure building. So what makes the organization more meaningful what makes the institutional education system more meaningful, that you will identify through this and then implement that. In that, you may still continue with all these regulatory policies, because that's what I'm saying, the policy and regulatory, the frameworks are there you to act first, and then beyond that, you can do better, which will lead essentially to improve your rankings in all areas, not only in the national institutional ranking, but in all other rankings, including global rankings. It will help you to move forward. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Krishnan. I think we
Thank you.
will keep in touch with you, and
Thank you.
possibly we will come back to you for an exclusive session for education institution to apply for this the CII exam awards.
Sure.
If they are interested. Probably we'll
Sure.
come back to that.
We are anytime whenever it is required, we are there. We will we'll be happy to.
So if you can guide a few institutions so that it will be useful.
Sure.
Let them make the change and transform.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Narayan sir, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Murthy, for organizing such wonderful sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Captain Nagaraj, Professor Aravind, and Murthy. Thank you.